That's a lot of mending, y'all. I have both changed clothes and slept between filming that last intro and this one. But now I have coffee. This pile is a little bit intimidating, which is why I consistently put off mending projects on top of like mending just not being as fun as making something new. I think most of us experience that little juxtaposition. Honestly, I shouldn't even really say mending here. Some of this might be mending, but most of it would technically be alteration. It's just easier to say mending. I'm actually fairly decent at mending my clothes pretty promptly, as long as it's just a hole in the seam. Like, my seams break all the time, y'all. Especially on my longer dresses, like my hoodie dresses, because so often I'll stand up from the couch or from the ground and I will step on my own hem and just like, I rip holes in the seams all the time. And those are really easy to fix. I've got a sewing machine right there. I run in real fast, get naked, sew over the holes. So I don't think there's much of that in this pile. Mainly what's in here is stuff that I discovered during my closet clean out, wearing everything in the closet thing, challenge, whatever that was. I discovered that I didn't like wearing these, but rather than it being an overall like, well, you should just get rid of them, all of these felt like they had a fixable thing about them that would make me like wearing them, yes? A surprising number of the things that need to be fixed in this pile is the pockets being too low down. Surprising, because you'd think at some point I would have learned to put my pockets higher up. But no, this dress, this striped dress, I made so long ago. It's one of my very early pieces. The pockets are too low. This dress, I made very recently. It's one of my last pieces. The pockets are too low. So, in order to not be overwhelmed by this pile, I am not at all requiring myself to actually finish all of these in this video or in this like sit down work on stuff time. I'm just gonna start and do as many as I feel like. I'm working on another like kind of big long video right now, so this is my balance to have like something slow to do on the side. Whenever I want to stop, I can stop and I'll do the rest at another time. But I do feel like we should start with a quick, taking stock of all of these pieces and what needs to be fixed on each one, both for your sake and for mine. This is a great place to sit for watching the squirrels and the birds. Look at that butt. They're so cute. Ooh, acrobatics. Okay, we've got terrible ruffle on the bottom, hate it, needs to go. Weird shoulder holes? Why? I don't get it. Pajamas that aren't supposed to be pajamas. Pockets too low. Pockets too low. Shoulders need to be lifted a bit, and also pockets too low. Shorts have a hole in them, top straight up just does not fit. Too big around the waist, I can't tie it as tightly as I want. Design of the top shows my bra. Glue spots on the butt, deodorant buildup in the pits. That lace around the top, no good anymore. And also I did the hem super weird. This top is actually fine, except that there's some raw edges on the inside. The pants, on the other hand, are a massive tripping hazard. Before we get down to mending business, y'all want to procrastinate just a tiny bit more? Because the sponsor of today's video is The Cozy Florist, and it's just a delightful distraction. Look, we all need some unwinding time, but I'm trying to spend less of that time when my hands automatically reach for my phone, scrolling. So a bright and cheery game with beautiful watercolor-style graphics and a peaceful soundtrack is a great alternative. The Cozy Florist is, as you might expect, a flower and gardening themed game where you cultivate gorgeous blooms, plant them, water them, harvest them, and sell them in your own little flower shop. You can make floral arrangements to fulfill customer orders and upgrade your garden as you unlock various features around the island. You can complete daily quests, join a guild, and even sneak into your friends' gardens to pilfer a rare flower. There's over 5,000 different flower species, and the game even follows the actual seasons, so the gameplay is always changing. As a fun little bonus, the Cozy Florist Florist has partnered with real life florists to host some giveaways of actual bouquets. If you'd like to kick back, relax, and plant some flowers that'll flourish whether you have a green thumb or not, then you can download the Cozy Florist by clicking the link in my description or scanning the QR code on screen. You'll even get a starter pack of free goodies. Thank you to the Cozy Florist for sponsoring this video, and now let's put the phone down and get on with the mending. Ugh. My pins! I guess there's only 3 that need pockets moved, so that's not as many as I thought, and those also feel like a really easy win, so I think that's where I should start. Also though, these were the only thing that's literally just a hole. I don't know why I didn't just sew up the hole when I discovered they had a hole. I don't know why I bothered throwing them in a drawer and leaving them there for like 6 months now. So actually, I'll start with this. Do I want to bother changing my thread? No. That's the fun thing in like all of my hoodie dresses. I seriously have fixed so many holes now. I am constantly tearing those seams. And every time I do it, I have different colors of thread in my machine and I don't change it. So if you look on the inside now, you can see all of these like patches of different thread colors. And it's like a little memory bank of how well used the dresses are. I think it's literally just that. Oh, there's another one a little lower down. They've also gotten very wrinkly from being in that drawer, as has everything. There's gonna have to be a good amount of ironing that happens with this. Or I guess I could rewash everything, but that feels like a waste. Look at that! How simple. 1 piece done. Out of how many? I didn't count those. Something else that I need to do soon-ish. I need to iron and then hem all of this fabric. They're all pieces that big for a class that I'm teaching. I don't know that I've talked about this here. I've mentioned it on Patreon and stuff, but I started teaching classes at Remainders, and I'm teaching one on like slow stitching, freeform. Slow stitching is what we're calling it, I think. Basically this kind of thing, what I did here with all just the random stitching all over it, but also kinda this thing, like the filled in stitching. I'm gonna give people options for whichever one they want. So I pulled a bunch of like nice loose weave fabric that's really great for that kind of stitching, and I cut out the size that everybody will be getting in that class, but I want to go ahead and hem the edges. I could just leave them raw and have people do that themselves if they want to, but it seems like a nice step to prep for them, because otherwise you're handling the fabric so long, because you're supposed to like stitch very slowly. This is supposed to take you months to finish. There's so much handling of the fabric that you end up with so much fraying if you don't pre-hem all of the edges. But that's a lot. I cut out enough pieces for like 3 classes so that I wouldn't have to do it again for a while. So that's a lot of hemming I gotta do. But for now, let's focus on the mending, I think. Let's move some pockets. Let's be real, this is the reason I don't like doing alterations. The seam ripping. Sewing up some holes real quick, sure thing. Having to tear out a long line of stitches? Especially on knit, which is always way harder to get them out of, and especially considering I'm a rather prolific backstitcher. But I've literally been wearing this dress for years now with the pockets annoyingly too low, so we're ripping those seams, no excuses. Where's my program? And look how fast that restitching it on is. So quick, so easy. Wow, the pockets are finally in the right place. Miraculous. Let's do the same thing on this dress. Round 2. On this one, I also did some understitching after moving the pockets, because I found they always turn inside out in the wash and they're kind of hard to locate with my hands in a speedy manner. And then I broke out the iron to get these touched up, and look at that, 3 done before lunch. All right, I'm gonna take a little break from adjusting pockets to fix this. My favorite jumpsuit. It's getting a little well worn now, but also while I was making the new moss rug, the stump rug, I think it was while I was tufting the piece for Shannon, at one point I stepped through that giant tufting frame that I made. Not a good choice. And I was wearing this, and the pant leg caught on, you know, all of the little spiky carpet tacks there, and I like fell flat on my face. It was pretty hilarious, and I did actually catch it on camera, but I think my mic was dead at the time, and so like, I don't know, it wasn't that funny of footage as it was in real life. So I did patch that, like it tore the fabric, and I immediately sat down and stitched a little patch onto it, did some embroidery over it, but in the course of that same project, while still wearing this, I also sat in some carpet glue. So there's this spot, and I think there's one other spot. Like, it will not come out in the wash. It's there permanently. Just looks like a kind of crazy stain. So I thought, you know, I'll stick patches over that as well. Why not? The whole thing can become patchy goodness. While I'm at it, I'm pretty sure I have some places in the hem that need to be resewn, because I am constantly stepping on the hemline of this. And then finally, a lot of people have told me how to do this, but I've forgotten, so I'm gonna look it back up. This is the one that goes like right up in my armpit, and so it's just gotten caked with deodorant that will not come out in the wash anymore. So I'm gonna go look up how you're supposed to do that. It's like you soak it in vinegar or something. I don't know, I'll tell you whenever I look it up and remember it. And I'm gonna see if I can get some of the deodorant out of that. Lots of stuff this little guy needs, but that's okay because it's one of my favorites. A lot of my projects lately have not been ones that I can accompany with YouTube videos. So I haven't been watching much lately. I've just been saving everything to my watch later playlist. So now I'm starting to work through that, which is a delight. Also, what is it, National Theater? Whatever theater company it is, put The Importance of Being Earnest on YouTube, the full show. So I really want to watch that. Yay.
Is it nice? Yeah.
Once I was happy with the patching, I actually just trimmed off the entire hem on both legs and re-sewed it, because these were still long enough that by day 2 of wearing them, 2 out of usually 5 or 6, I'm constantly stepping on the hem. Then I did a very quick search on removing deodorant buildup, got 5 million different opinions, and opted to try a mixture of dish soap and baking soda in hot water. Scrub, leave to soak, and then throw it in the wash. And you can't really see if you've made any progress once it's wet, so I guess we shall have to find out how that went later. Now that I've got black thread in the machine, might as well tackle the other 2 black dresses, starting with another pocket repositioning. Oh look, I understitched these pockets. How thorough of me. The joy of moving pockets up really close to the waistline where they should be is that you kinda can't get your machine in that nook without undoing the waistline, which I have no desire to do. So with a bit of hand sewing, we're all good. I left the top of this dress in a bit of a hidden mess when I finished it, and while I don't mind it being low cut, right now it also kinda gapes forward if I'm not standing up perfectly straight, which, let's be real, I'm usually not. So I'm gonna adjust the shoulder seams a bit and then clean up that underbust area too. So you might be surprised to see this dress in the alteration and mending pile. Made it pretty recently. Yeah. So the lace in the neckline did not work. If you're gonna put lace pieces like that, they kind of need to be like a piece of lace on its own, right? Because then that's finished around the edges. Or at the very least, you need to finish it around the edges. So my original concern was just like, oh, well, I need to starch it to like have it lay flat or give it some structure. But I will be honest, I knew the entire time, back of my brain subconscious, that this would not work because I cut a piece of lace. Like I cut a piece out of a stretch of stretch lace. That doesn't work. The edges weren't finished at all, and as soon as I washed it once, it became a mess. It's all just crunchy, curled up, you know, messiness. So I gotta take that off, which I knew I would have to do when I made it. And did I blaze on ahead anyway? Yes, I did. The thing is, I do not want to seam rip anything, quite frankly, because seam ripping on knit material doesn't often go super duper well. And this is the neckline. It's a very visible part of the dress, and I really like the dress. So it would be nice to like remove it and replace it with a piece of like lace applique, I think. You can get these pieces of pre-made lace that are smaller and have good finishing around the edges. I would replace it, but that would require me to take the dress apart on some level, and I don't want to do that. So what I'm gonna try to do is literally just cut this off. Hopefully so incredibly close to the edge that you don't see any little thready bits sticking out. Yeah, when the back of your brain is telling you, hey, that's gonna cause a problem later on, you should probably listen to it. And then to top it off, I do also need to fix the hem of this. Again, I was like, let's try something random. And I hemmed it in a U shape, both on the back and the front, so it's shorter on the sides, which I think would work on a shorter dress. It'd be an interesting hem choice. But on a long dress, what we end up with is just the front and the back center are sitting on the ground and they are tripping hazards. So I just need to hem it straight. It's good to experiment, but experiments don't always work, and that's fine. I chopped off the bulk of the lace first, and then went in with some really sharp snips to remove the tiny bits that were left over, which was a mistake. It would have been easier to cut really close to the seam if I had more to hold on to. Whoops. But overall, this did work. 'Tis just very slow and persnickety. And then the hemming, well, you know what hemming looks like. Next. Well, I got all of these ironed and hemmed yesterday. Took a few hours. I am, however, where's my coffee? I am, however, lightly losing momentum on the mending. I feel like I did all the straightforward stuff and now I'm like, the hard stuff. So let's kinda take a look through what's left. Cause see, look, immediately, this just needs to be hemmed. That's pretty straightforward. Should I do that next? Hello, my baby. You're so nice. I love you so much. I mean, I don't know if I can fix this. It fits really well and I like it as is. What did I even have a problem with? I said there were raw seams on the inside. Where? Oh my god, just in the sleeves? Are you kidding me? Why did I do that? The entire rest of this is like French seams and everything on the inside, and just on the sleeves, I left the raw edges. If I could go back in time and ask myself, what was that choice about? I would. There's so little left that I don't even think I could turn it under. But I'm gonna try, because I think that's the best bet. Otherwise, I don't want to have to like seam rip and redo this. I like the way it is right now. So I'm gonna lightly attempt to turn under those seams. This one, I technically just need to take the ruffle off the bottom. It's not a good fabric to be mixed with this and it feels terrible, but I'm also kind of wondering if I can do something to make the whole thing a little more wearable. So that's fairly simple. This one just straight up doesn't fit, so I'm kind of like, should you spend time trying to fix it, or should you just like accept that it's too small for you and that's fine? Kind of the same with this one. It's honestly okay. I don't like that the skirt fully opens on the side, but it does overlap quite a bit. It's just too big on me. It needs to be able to pull closer together in the front so that the skirt is more thoroughly surrounding. So honestly, with both of these, I'm like, should I just put these in the next charity auction, the next closet wardrobe, clean out? I think I'm not gonna bother fixing either of these. This one's too small for me, this one's a little too big for me. Should I just do a giveaway or something? I could do that. All right, so let's focus on these three next, okay? Okay. Break. Yeah, I immediately dumped all prospect of turning under and sewing the raw edges on this piece, opting instead for the good old pinking shears. It'll still fray a bit, but hopefully not as badly. Then 'twas back to seam ripping because I sewed this ruffle right onto the hemmed edge of the dress, which means that if I can remove it cleanly, I won't even have to re-hem.
2,000 years later.
I forgot that this Saki dress has pockets that hang down lower than the hemline, which I believe is why I added the ruffle in the first place. So we gotta make some adjustments. But oh, looky what I have! Curtains I made for the last house we lived in out of this same material. I also have a long sashy string thing I made, so I'm gonna cut off the hemline of the dress, use that to make a channel at the waistline, string in the sash to cinch it all up, and then turn the two curtains into a larger, more gentle ruffle to lengthen the whole thing. Boom! Totally new look! Moving on to the enormous pants, we start with the enormous job of ironing them, which, is that part of the reason I don't wear them much? No, of course not. Seriously though, it is a good idea to consider the qualities of the fabric you're using against the design and your lifestyle. If we're gonna go to a nice restaurant or something like that where I would wear these pants, it's typically a last-minute decision due to the way our schedules work. Like, hey, I got us a reservation in 30 minutes and it'll take 29 to drive there. Better get changed fast. So there's not usually time for ironing, and anything too wrinkled just doesn't get pulled out of my closet much. Oh well, I love these pants. The color is amazing. I also went ahead and hand-stitched, for some reason, the front half of the waistband in half, because I originally made it really wide with the idea that it would ruche down when you tie it. No, it doesn't do that. So now, problem solved.
What you doing? Are you just being whiny and needy? Yeah.
Then I could try them on to get a general idea of how much needs to come off the end.
God, they're so big. Oh, good pom-pom throw. Wait, that's a sock. Good sock throw.
I realized that the end of the two seam lines are actually right at the correct place, and the curve is just way too curvy. So I spread them out neatly to cut that off, and then sewed a new double fold hem. Y'all, we have been on a roll. Though, technically a very sporadic roll. I don't know how much you can tell from editing, but this has been very come and go. I haven't worked on any of these in like 5 days now. But there's such a small amount left that I do feel like I should commit and finish the whole pile. Yeah? Commit. Hi. Did I scare you with my creepy voice? First of all, in the last 5 days, I have made a decision about these two pieces. I'm gonna save them for the next time that I do either a giveaway or an auction or whatever. They're both perfectly fine as is. They just don't fit me. And I think they could just fit someone else, and that other person would be happy to have them. It's not a cop-out. It's not me just trying to have less work. No. That means I only have 3 pieces left. Woohoo! This is the one that I'm the most unsure about. This one, I think I just need to make it less. Not smaller, less. Like cut off the sleeves, maybe even cut off the pants. This one, I had the issue that I made the back too low, so it was always showing like the whole top of my bra. But then I partially fixed that issue, as you may have noticed in the footage, by getting a new bra. Y'all, I hadn't bought a new, like, legit bra in I think like 8 years. I'm very sports bra heavy, but I bought one, not even meaning to, that has like a kind of dropped lower back. So it doesn't show anymore. The only thing that now shows is like the top of the straps on both sides where, you know, whoosh, it does this. So I think the fix for this is just putting wider straps on it. I have extra fabric of this, so I can do that. The question just becomes, how hard of an alteration is that gonna be? This is another one where it's like, that seems so simple. Just put on bigger straps. But this is a lined top, which means I'd have to fully open it up from down there. In the front, it wouldn't be so bad. It'd be some seam ripping and opening things up, but in the back, we have my faux shirring thing. There's elastic in here, which means I can't just open up this back piece. Am I gonna cop out on this too? Maybe. I mean, kudos to people who do like legit alterations, and I used to work at David's Bridal, so this was a thing. I avoided doing all of the actual alterations because I wasn't a good enough sewist, let's be real. I mainly was doing like the pinning and stuff, and then I would do hems, stuff like that. But you get into these like intense side alterations or cup alterations, there's so many things where like the first step was taking apart a large part of this dress, and that step stresses me out. I'm not good at destroying in order to fix. I'm gonna think on this. And in the meantime, we're gonna do this. This should be fairly easy. I just don't want long sleeves on it. I really don't. I was feeling pretty experimental on this piece, so I cut off the sleeves, cut off the pant legs, and then for the fun of it, cut the whole thing in half. When the design just isn't working for you, it's a great time to go all in on experiments. You're gonna see what it ended up looking like in just a minute. Moving on to the shoulder hole dress, after a long stretch of staring at it and thinking oh so deeply on this conundrum, I realized that I have fabric very similar in look to this white eyelet. Mine is just bigger in design and it's stretch material. So I'm gonna fully cut off the sleeves and try replacing them with regular raglan sleeves, no weird holes. I used the sleeve pattern from good old McCall 7349 to test it out, and while this first try needs some adjustment, I think overall this'll work. And I'm feeling pretty done with this, so let's see all the finished stuff, huh? We've got pockets in the proper place for convenient hand support. Huzzah! More perfectly placed pockets, and oh look, they're so easy to locate. Patches on the booty, woot! I love some visible mending, it's so fun. The hemline is all good and not too long anymore, and the deodorant did partially come out. This is definitely better than it was, so that's good. The neckline is much better on this one now, no gaping open when I move around or lean over, and of course, perfectly placed pockets! I know it's kind of sad to have lost the lace neckline on this one. A lot of people really liked that element, but I'm just so happy the dress is wearable because it's so freaking comfy. Nice to not be tripping over the hem too. This is one of the most drastic changes, and I quite like it. This dress can still be used as an underlayer exactly like it was before, but now it could also be worn on its own if I wanted. This top, of course, looks no different on the outside, but hey, check out those voluminous trousers that are not laying 8 inches on the floor. I'm excited to actually wear these now, even if it does mean getting out the iron. My final conclusion for this garment is that I actually don't like this fabric. The print, not the feel, it's very soft. That's rare for me, I typically enjoy all colors and prints and stuff, but yeah, it's just not working for me. However, I do really like the jumpsuit with the cinched waist look, so now I want to make another one better fabric. Replacing these sleeves and eliminating the random holes kind of shifted the whole dress upward, so now it's pretty tight around the neck. It doesn't hugely bother me, at least for now, so we'll have to see how it does after a full day of wearing it. This might be getting another alteration eventually. And finally, yeah, I copped out on the jumpsuit. I'd rather leave it how it is and adjust my undergarments, or lose them altogether, than risk messing it up. I did iron it though. Oh, and I pretty much forgot about these shorts, but yeah, I sewed the hole closed. Wow! Well, I think that's all the thoughts that I have on this whole process, other than like, yay, it's done! I got through the whole pile! Other than the ones I just decided to not do. But I have thoughts on something else, if you will allow me to tangent a little bit. Come see, it'll be fun. I finished the Fantasia embroidery. Woo! Da da da. Yeah, I decided probably like a month ago that I was just gonna focus all of my like free embroidery time on this piece rather than jumping back and forth like I usually do. I really got in the mood to like get this one done. And considering I started it like 3 years ago, it might be almost 4 years ago now. Yeah, it was nice to wrap that up. This is a piece of concept art from Disney's Fantasia, the original one. I got the idea to stitch this probably like 6 or more years ago, and then I finally decided to do it. Some people have commented like on Instagram and stuff that they're really excited to see the video about this. There will not be a video about it. I made a video about the process of starting the piece when I originally did it, like my whole process of transferring the pattern and choosing the colors and putting the frame together and all that. And then I have not filmed a single bit of this. It was not meant to be a video. This was my private time, I guess. So this is all you get, a random tack on at the end of another video to tell you it's done. I'm trying to decide if I want to like reframe it and like stretch it a little bit more and put a nice frame around it. I don't know right now. How should I display it? Because I think for now it's just gonna go back on the easel where it's been for the last couple years. This is done entirely with all 6 strands of 6-strand cotton embroidery floss, and it is all in a vertical split stitch, which is how it gets that kind of smooth and consistent texture. It's really cool. But using all 6 strands and doing a fill like this, where the back is entirely filled as well, pretty much, that uses a lot of floss. So I originally was going to keep track of how many skeins I went through on this. I was putting little notches down here, like I was tallying when I ran through a skein. And I stopped my tallies when I had gone through 20. And I guarantee to you that was so incredibly long ago. I've been putting all of my skein things in here as I finished them. 1, 9, 17, 23. Okay, there's another 23 skeins in here, which was this kind of final part that I did. So overall, I'd estimate that this probably took somewhere between 80 and 100 skeins of floss. Good times. It's kind of weird finishing a piece that you've been working on for years like this, because it feels like, I don't know, the heavens should open and an angelic chorus should sing or something, but actually my response was just like, okay, I guess I can start a new embroidery now. Do you ever wake up some mornings and the whole world just feels really loud? Why can't everyone just be quiet?
Ha! You really should have thought of that before you became peasants!
Ah, that was still so hot.
What you doing? What? Huh?
What you doing?
So